charts continually. And then, of course, we launched the club, so sort of my activities sort of diversified somewhat then. But I've been around a long time. I've been helping people to lose weight. And it all started with the Slimming Club with a few of my neighbours in my kitchen in Leicestershire, in Thurnby in Leicestershire, back in 1971. And they lost weight, and then I gave up my job as a secretary, went to the local village hall and opened classes for the general public. And that's really where it all began. And the rest, as they say, is history.
The rest is history. And it's history that's actually present, past and future. Because, I mean, you know, you've got lots of energy. You don't intend to retire in the near future, I don't think.
I certainly don't. I don't intend to retire at all.
Amen to that.
I absolutely love what I do. What I do is an absolute privilege because I help people to be healthier. And I help people to find themselves, feel better about themselves, and to live healthier and hopefully longer lives, and that it also transcends down future generations. And it's quite weird now when people come to me and they'll say, oh, my mum's got your hip and thigh diet, or I used to work out to your DVDs when I was 3, you know, and you realise that it is this sort of generational thing. And it's quite weird because from my point of view, it's just been a continual track of activity, but it's been enormous fun.
Yeah, yes, and enormous benefit to so many people, including myself. I mean, I started out, this is your 4th book, isn't it? The 4th book you wrote, but one of your bestsellers, and The Complete Hip and Thigh Diet. And I had this book in the 80s. I remember my friend and I used to work out and go through the recipes in this book and do the exercises and you know, amazing stuff. You've had some more recent, obviously more recent books than that, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But I'd just like to ask you, what started you on the journey? You know, what was it that decided that this was something that you had a passion for and something that you wanted to do for the rest of your life?
Well, when I first started my first slimming class, I just lost some weight myself. I'd been always quite skinny as a child. I wasn't a very healthy child. My parents didn't expect me to live beyond 10 years old. I had a chronic asthma condition. I was very, very frail. And as a result of that, I really was, you know, I was really very fragile. When I did get into puberty, and then suddenly I began to blossom a little bit, and I met my first boyfriend and my first husband, and I put some weight on and ended up weighing actually 10 stone 4, which I'm only 5'2" tall. I weigh 8 stone now.
Wow. And
at 2 stone 4, I really was big. I know that doesn't sound massive to lots of people, but for me, it was. I'm somebody who takes size 3 shoes. You know, I really am quite tiny. And so as a result of that, I so hated being overweight. So I lost the weight, and then I thought, right, I went to another slimming class. And when I went to the slimming class, it was just a weigh-in and talking about food. And I thought, do you know, I'd really love to run classes, but I want to incorporate more than just a weigh-in. So I incorporated good grooming, and the good grooming was basically making the most of yourself, so that as you lost weight, you actually learned about how to do your hair, how to put makeup on, how to sit, how to do your nails, all of those things, and how to dress to flatter yourself. And it was really, really great fun. I'd been on a course, and I took what I'd learned from that and delivered it within my classes. Well, in that very first class in the village hall, I put up 30 posters and 29 people came. Now, in those days, I charged £1 membership and 25p was the class fee. And we had 29 members on the first night. And I'd never taught in that situation ever before. I was terribly nervous. But I gave them a diet which I'd worked out, which I was on 1,400 calories a day. I felt it was a healthy diet. I'd had it looked at by the doctor who approved it. And then I gave my talk about good grooming. And it just grew, and it was amazing. I opened additional classes, and as I said, I gave up my job as a secretary, and suddenly found that this is what people wanted. They actually enjoyed losing weight, seeing the benefit. The weight loss happened. They took on board the advice of how to make the most of themselves, and this was just really exciting. So over a period of about 8 years, I then opened more classes all over Leicestershire until we got to 1980, and we then had 50 classes running every week, different people were running those classes for me. And then we started incorporating exercise. So that was great fun. None of us were qualified in those days, but we were, you know, I don't think I'd ever harmed anybody, to be absolutely honest. But it was different from the normal swimming clubs that were out there. And then I was approached in 1981 by IPC magazines, who were producing a magazine called Successful Slimming alongside, as an offshoot really, from Woman's Own magazine. And as a result of that, they wanted a chain of clubs that they could latch onto. And they liked my clubs because they were different, and we really cared and delivered a really good service. And anyway, so in effect, I sold my classes to them. I ran it for them for 4.5 years. It was the toughest and hardest and most awful time of my life. And as a result of that, I swore I would never work for anybody ever again. Because they're a big national company, and obviously they were concerned about the bottom line. And from my point of view, that wasn't my priority. Of course it was for them, and I'd be naive to think that it wasn't. But the thing was that it was just hard, and my marriage failed, and it was just a really hard time of my life. And I then met my future husband, Mike, and Mike and I were together for about 3 years. And then when the clubs all closed and our relationship came to an end, I was really going to be out of a job. I was going to have to move house. I hadn't got the salary in the car anymore. And then I had a gallstone problem and was taken into hospital and was really very poorly and was told I needed to have a gallstone problem. And then while I was in hospital, that's where I saw an advertisement for a book called Power for Living. And Power for Living was being advertised and promoted by Lord Tonypandy, Gerald Williams and Cliff Richard. And if ever there was somebody who needed Power for Living at that moment, it was me. And so I sent for the book, and it came through the post on the day that I was due to go back to hospital for a cholecystogram to see how bad my gallstones were.
Yeah.
And when I read it, this book was just so simply written. I felt as though God was talking to me as an individual. And on that Friday night, I went home and I prayed the prayer that was in it, where I asked Jesus into my life. And I gave my life to the Lord. And for that moment, my life completely changed. And it was an extraordinary experience. And I often tell my story, my testimony, at various events around the country, because my life completely turned around from that moment on.
You know, just listening to what you're saying, for those who've never read the Bible, they may have heard of the story of Job, where Job lost everything, including his health, and he was down to absolutely nothing. It's almost like a modern day Job story, that, where you'd lost everything. Your health was at its lowest ebb. You had this painful, awful condition called cholecystitis and having gallstones, and then you read a book that changed your life, dramatically changed your life, and you gave your life to Jesus Christ. Now, I'm sure a lot of people do know that you are a Christian, but I don't know if many of them have heard how that actually happened. And a friend of mine just yesterday, as I was telling her I was going to come and interview here, said, Power for Living, it changed my life as well. I read a testimony. And so you have not only changed people's lives in the natural by giving them such a makeover with their bodies, with their physical bodies, and that itself is an amazing thing to be able to do, but also you've also been a witness to people as a woman who loves the Lord Jesus Christ, who's a Christian, and whose life has been changed dramatically through that. Now, how does your faith mix with the work that you do?
Well, it works very well because I feel that God has sort of put me into this almost controversial industry as being, you know, right, I want you to go out there and I want you to teach healthy eating, increased activity, and to try and really produce some good messages rather than some of the get-rich-quick schemes that some companies come up with, which are absolutely dreadful. And it's so confusing for the consumer. And I also work in the media, and in the media these days, there's this real sense of, oh, well, you know, I've heard of very talented musicians who have been told, you mustn't say that you're a Christian because you won't sell. You know, that's tragic to me. And I absolutely go out there and say I'm a Christian. I say that I'm a Christian in every single one of my books that I've written, and I will not deny that in any way, shape or form. And I'm a very public Christian, and I welcome any opportunity to say it. And people can think what they like, but I've been around a long time, and I think people who work with me and our franchisees, who there are 174 of them who work for us, know that when they come to work with us, they are working with a company that operates from a Christian ethic. And I'm really proud of that. And I think it's really important that, you know, sometimes people say, oh, isn't it hard being in business and being a Christian? No. Why should it be hard? It's ridiculous. You know, you pay your bills. You don't wait until after the pay date. You pay it on the date. If somebody pays you twice, you pay them back. Yeah. And if somebody makes an error, you correct it. It's black and white. And it doesn't mean to say that you're a pushover, because sometimes you might have a member of staff who swings the lead, and you have to address it. And maybe something happens where somebody takes advantage of you. I won't be taken advantage of. We will address it. And so people realise that actually the boundaries are very clear, but the positives are so great in being a Christian because we are immensely fair. And I think that's really important.
It is. And one of the things I've noticed, in fact, on the street I live, there is a Rosemary Conley fitness instructor, and I know that because she's got a car, and this car's got Rosemary Conley blazoned everywhere. And the other day I thought, shall I go and tell her what I'm going to do in a few days' time? But you know, your success is amazing. It's amazing on two levels. As you said, you have the code of ethics that stem from the foundation of your Christian faith, which means, as you said, you don't want to be a walkover, because a lot of Christians feel, and a lot of people will say, if you do stand up and you call yourself a Christian, you know, as if we Christians are supposed to be carpets for people to walk over. So you found that amazing balance between being a businesswoman, being a fitness, diet, health expert, which is really what you are, and also being a Christian. And how about your personal life? Now, I know you have a daughter, is that right?
Yes, I do.
And how old is she?
She's
Would she want you to tell me?
I don't think she might. She's 35 this year.
Wow.
And she's was born to my first husband and myself, and is such an amazing blessing. She's very involved in her own church, and she's just the best daughter in the world. And so she's a complete joy, and we're very close. And my first husband and I have remained the best of friends.
Wow.
And I did marry Mike. Mike is the guy who I broke away from at this crisis point in my life. But when I became a Christian on the Friday, Mike came round to see me on the Sunday, and he was saying that he actually was struggling to live without me, and I was really missing him. And that night I felt God say to me that I should marry Mike. And the following Friday I proposed to him.
Wow.
And we got married 4 months later. And next year we'll have been married 25 years, which is amazing.
You've got your silver medal almost, haven't you?
Exactly. And he became a Christian shortly after me. Oh. And through reading Powerful Living, exactly the same. And we're so blessed. It's been, and God has been incredible, because about 10 years ago we went through a really tough patch. And in that patch, if we hadn't been Christians, I honestly don't think we'd have made it. But because we were, and I actually know the lady who's behind the Powerful Living book, Nancy DeMoss. It's her husband who is the real sort of backer of this book. And they've given, nearly 100 million of these away all over the world. And we had the privilege of meeting Nancy DeMoss. And she has been such a strength to us, and at this really difficult time she just said, look, just surround yourself with Bible tracts, with music, and just keep God around you and hold it together. And God sort of protected me, and he sent me an army of people who just propped me up at this really tough time in our lives. And then we really did bring it all back together, and we rebuilt our marriage, and that was such an amazing thing. And you know, you don't fall in love that easily, and it's such a shame when people throw that away, because you can. And when you can rebuild it and you realise the depth of the love that you have for someone, for each other, and that you look forward to the fact that you're going to be spending the rest of your life together in God's presence and, you know, under God's wing, it is just amazing. And our marriage is stronger now as a result of those difficulties that we went through. And now it's, you know, we're so rock solid, and it's wonderful because we so truly love each other. It's a joy, and we're very fortunate.
You are indeed, because one of the problems, of course, is that even among the Christian community, there's so many marriage breakups, so many divorces, and only recently there was a very well-known TV evangelist whose wife decided to divorce him after 30 years of marriage, and you know, it's very sad, it's very tragic that that happens. And so it's really, really important that as a Christian, as you said, surround yourself with the Word of God, surround yourself with people who will give you godly counsel. I've only recently got married myself, so I'm sort of listening with all ears for all the tips on how to get my own 25-year silver medal. Well, my husband's a lot older than I am, so you know, but yes, I'm praying for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is your husband involved in the business at all?
Very much so. He's the co-owner and you know, director, and when we have two other directors work with us, we are a very happy business, and it works brilliantly together. We really enjoy working together, and Mike is a real whiz on the IT front, thankfully, because I'm completely IT not. And so it's very helpful that, you know, we have different strengths, and the other two directors that we have also have different strengths, and so between us we have a tremendous balance, which it works. It absolutely works, and I surround myself with experts. Good. And it's understanding that you can't know everything yourself, that you have to use your talents that you do have, use your time to operate your talents, and to use other people. I don't mean use them in a nasty way, I mean use them, capitalise on people who bring tremendous talents to your business to make the whole package the best it can be. And we have that. We are so fortunate that we have that. And we even did one of those psychological profile type of operations for all the 4 directors recently. And the guy who was the facilitator said, this is so unusual that you actually, each of you is in a box and you cross over, but you have a complete balance of skills and talents here. And that is just brilliant. And we have fun. We come to work and have fun. And every year we go away for a think tank we've got a house in Portugal, and we bring the other directors over there for a week, and we have a think tank every year to really think where we're going with the business, how we go, what are our priorities, and so on. And yes, we have a great time, and we have lots of laughs, and we have a few glasses of Pimm's and so on. But it's so lovely to be able to do that and enjoy each other's company.
That's amazing. That's a rarity, actually, to find a group of people who work so well together. And as you said, even your personality profiles match.
Yes,
yeah.
It's lovely. It really is. And, you know, one of the things that I found in business and in our private life, when you're a Christian, if you allow God to show you the way forward, and we know this, and there'll be ideas that might come, and you think, oh, that sounds a good idea. And then you just have a feeling that actually it's not a good idea, that won't work. Or another thing, you think, actually that will work. You know that will work. And our online TV channel is one of those things. We've got a new food range called Solo Slim, which I don't want to sell through the supermarkets. I want to sell it by mail order. And that was just something that I felt was the right thing to do. I felt it was the right thing to do to produce our magazine, but to publish it ourselves. We never published a magazine before, And yet God sent us the right people at the right time to enable us to do it. And it's, you know, we sell 1 million copies of this every year. And it's all of those experts and all of those balances that just seems to come together. And it's so exciting when that happens. I was at a Christian event, 2-3 weeks ago, and there was somebody there who'd been, I've come along with so-and-so who's organising the event. She said she's trying to get me to become a Christian. So she said, but, you know, I'm prepared to come and listen to you, but, you know, I'm not completely convinced about it. And so I said, well, in my car, I've got a SmartNav navigational system. And SmartNav tells you which way is the best way to go and knows where the traffic jams are and where the delays are and so on. I said, I can look at a map and think, no, well, if I want to go to London, I'm going to go down the M1 because that's the quickest route. And I could say, no, that's the route I'm going anyway. I said, but if I listen to SmartNav, then SmartNav might say, well, actually, at junction 15, there's a major problem and it's closed, and I'm going to send you this other route. That's what my relationship with God is like. God is like my SmartNav, and he sends me on the route that is best for me. I can choose my own route if I want to. He's not going to stop me, but don't blame him if you make a mistake and you come to a dead end or a big delay. So that was something that just sort of came to me as an example of trying to explain to people why having a personal relationship with God is really brilliant.
Oh yes, and I second that motion very much. I was fortunate that I got saved when I was 18. I was just about to go to uni, or actually just in uni, and I had this wonderful experience there. And I've been a Christian for over 30 years, so praise God for that.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned you've got a magazine, but you've also written over 30 books. Is that right?
Yes, I enjoy writing diet books. I enjoy writing actually, and my diet books seem to be popular. And I write in a very ordinary fashion. I'm not a flowery writer. I write it as it is. And all my diets, I know they'll work. And I often will do a trial to prove that I can make a claim. For instance, the latest book I have is The Amazing Inch Loss Plan.
That's this one, isn't it?
That's that one.
Yeah.
And The Amazing Inch Loss Plan boasts this claim of lose a stone in a month. And the reason that we can do that is because I got 50 people recruited from BBC Radio Leicester to try the diet, follow it for 4 weeks, and as a result of that they lost 50 stone.
Wow.
And so I thought, right, I can say lose a stone a month because the average weight loss was a stone. And it's a day-by-day programme, and it is amazingly effective. The reason I did it and why I wanted to go to try and prove that point, and you obviously won't carry on losing it at that rate. You'll lose the weight at, a pound or two a week. Thereafter, it shows you how to do that. But it's been clinically proven that if you lose a lot of weight initially, you're much more motivated to carry on. And if you can see, you drop a dress size in a month, you suddenly feel so good about yourself that you want to carry on with the exercise, you want to carry on with the healthy eating. So whilst this is quite strict for the first month, it becomes much easier after that, and then you'll lose weight at the rate of about a pound or two a week.
And it's very sensible. A stone in a month is a very, very sensible thing to do.
In the first month.
In the first month,
yes.
That's right. I mean, you can't continue that way.
No, not unless you're 30 stone.
Whatever, yes.
Any of the people that were in my trial, they varied in weight. I had a lady of 11 stone 2. I think she was my lightest. And I think the heaviest was 22 stone, a man. And the least anybody lost was 8 pounds. The most anybody lost was 1 stone 10 in the month. So it's a brilliant programme which really does work. And it is about combining diet with exercise, because unless you're going to do both, you will not lose weight as quickly and you will not tone up. And if you want a good body at the end of your weight loss programme, then you need to do exercise.
I had to say, I actually bought this a couple of years ago for my husband, just before we got married. This is about 3 books away now, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
And you know, I wrote in there, I actually got some to my darling Ray. This wouldn't hurt a bit, honest. Trust me, I'm a doctor. And that was just before we got married, June '08, to try and encourage him. Because he was a little on the large side, and he actually has done, and he's looking very good. So it's good to see that it's not just the women out there who are benefiting from, but also the men, because as the men get older, of course, they have a lot more risks, cardiovascular risks, arthritis, and all the rest of it, because of being overweight. So you men out there, please, you know, don't think that Rosemary Conley is just for women. You men out there actually need to go and do something and get her material as well. And of course, I've got your salsa size exercise DVDs as well, which I use not as often as I'd like to, but I do enjoy them.
It's a very good workout. And we've just done the Real Results DVD, which is my last one.
Okay.
And that's because we've got the TV now. Doing the DVDs is really hard work. Takes about a month of my year, and having done 30 of them, I've decided that's enough. So I'm going to just do the bits on the TV, and our franchisees are brilliant, and they come on and record exercise workouts on there which people can follow, and it's lovely to have this new generation of people coming and being able to put them onto the internet through our TV site.
That's fun. And the studio idea was so brilliant, wasn't it?
Yes, it took about 30 seconds to decide what to do with our old warehouse. At our think tank 2 years ago, our director came out and she said, "Oh, we're moving the warehouse because we've outgrown it, and we're going into an industrial unit." And so I said, well, we ought to turn the old warehouse into a studio. And that's what we did.
Bingo.
Bingo, absolutely. It was one of those light bulb moments. And whilst it wasn't an easy route to get it done because of a variety of problems, the builder went bankrupt on us and one or two other things, but we got there in the end. Perseverance always wins. And now it's up and running and it's doing a great job and people are really enjoying it.
And it's rosemaryconley.tv.
That's right.
That's right. And of course, people can just go online and log on to that.
Yes, there are 6 sub-channels on it. And so we've got loads of recipes on there. Our chef is cooking away and show you how to cook every recipe. We do the slimmers who come in the magazine, the successful slimmers, and we film them being photographed and being made up, and we interview them. And we've got all our experts come on, Dr. Hilary Jones, Professor Raj Persaud, Dr. Susan Jebb, and Mary Morris, my dear colleague who works with me, has done for the last 15 years, who's my fitness guru. She just knows everything there is to know about fitness. And it's just a joy to be able to put all those together and in effect bring the magazine to life.
Yes.
Because everything that goes in here also goes onto rosemaryconley.tv. And so it's a great way of being able to bring it to life.
Now I'm going to ask you a few personal questions.
Sure.
Okay. Do you have a personal chef? Do you have somebody like Oprah who...
It would be very nice. I did consider it at one point, but we compromised. Because I remember we were going through, it was sort of when we sort of moved here and we're starting clubs and I thought, wow, there just aren't enough hours in the day. And the biggest problem was the what shall we have for dinner decision when you get home at night, when you've been making decisions all day. And so we compromised, and I have a lovely lady called Millie, who's a farmer's wife who lives in our village, who does 4 meals a week for us. And she makes them at her house and then delivers them to our house, and we just heat them up.
Oh.
And that is lovely. So I spend half an hour with Millie on a Monday morning deciding what the menu is going to be for the week. And then I cook them, heat them up or whatever. And then at the weekends, I cook from scratch, which I really enjoy.
Now, is that sort of the idea of Solo Slim? Are you going to be doing cooked meals that can be frozen and cooked? And,
yes, you don't need to freeze them.
No,
no. There's Solo Slim ready meals in a pouch. They, because of the method of packaging, they don't even need to go into a fridge. You can keep them in your store cupboard for up to 9 months, and you just put them into the microwave or empty them into a saucepan, or heat them in the oven if that's what you want to do. And they're there for you. The perfect store cupboard food, and it's really fresh. There's no E numbers in it. It's all fresh ingredients, and they're absolutely delicious.
Oh, I look forward to that. Any idea when production's going to start?
Oh, it's already started.
Oh, it has started?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes, no, we sell them in a box for a week.
Oh.
So 7 soups and 7 dinners.
Yes.
Plus some of my low-fat cheese, which is gorgeous cheese, 5% fat maximum, and a pack of my nutrition bars. And it's just about to have a pack of chocolate drink go in there as well. So you can have this really full-bodied chocolate drink to have as part of the diet. There's a diet plan that goes with it.
For those who like the bit of sweet, chocolatey.
Yes. So the two things that dieters really miss, cheese and chocolate.
Oh, yes.
They're in there. Fantastic.
That's wonderful. And how can people get hold of Solo Slim? Do they go on the website?
Yeah, go to rosemaryconley.com and you can order it through that.
Wonderful.
And it's delivered to your door.
Wow, wow. So you heard that. I certainly will be visiting. I mean, as I told you earlier, I already use a lot of your products, and one of them is the Facial Flex, which is this little device that I put in my mouth twice a day, morning and evening. And, you know, we women have to do what we can, don't we?
Well, this is why you look so young. I can't believe you sort of in effect told me your age. And I can't believe
yes,
that
I'm pretty close to 50, yes.
Well, you look about 30.
Thank you.
So incredible. But I swear by Facial Flex. Facial Flex is a gadget that it was created by a surgeon to help people who had burns, facial burns, to regenerate the muscles in their face. And what they found was that the therapists who were helping them were suddenly beginning to look so much younger. And so I thought, wow, let's market this as a beauty product. And we're the sole distributors of it in the UK. I've been using it for 5 years and I absolutely swear by it. Yeah. And it's just 2 minutes a day, and I just do it while I'm doing my hair. I'm just flexing my mouth with this little gadget, which is the same principle as using a resistance band in the gym or in a class, or using weights. It's basically using the resistance of a little rubber band against the muscles of your mouth, and it affects 30 muscles from below your nose right down to your chest, because it actually affects all of those muscles. Yeah. Strengthens them. It's brilliant.
It really does. I can vouch for that. My dentist actually says, gosh, you've got a good grip there, you know, open wider. So, yes, I mean, and it does work. And, and thank you so much for that product. It's called Facial Flex, so, you know where to get it from now. I'd like to just pose a couple of scenarios to you. And, you know, as I was saying, I've just recently got married. 2 years ago, I was in absolutely top shape, well-toned, but now I live in Norfolk and in London. I had to divide my life between those two places. So sometimes not very easy to get in the fitness and diet routine. The diet's fine, but the fitness, the actual exercise is a bit difficult. So what would you say? I've got a couple of scenarios. The first one is a stay-at-home mum who's got 2 little kids, weight's piling on because she's feeding them with, you know, fish fingers and... How would you encourage her, and what do you think she should do to help to get back the pre-baby weight?
2 things she needs to do is, when you've had a baby and you have piled on the weight during your pregnancy, it is something that you really need to get onto fairly quickly, because otherwise it just settles and then you get busy, you get tired, and then all you're doing is lugging around the equivalent weight of your suitcase when you go on holiday. It's a massive amount of weight and it just wears you out. Makes you grumpy, makes you irritable with the children, makes your self-esteem go really low. That affects your relationship with your husband. So there is a real urgency in trying to get yourself back into shape as quickly as you can, sensibly, healthily, of course. But it's important that you build into your life healthy eating, try to avoid snacking, just don't buy the things that might tempt you. Don't buy the biscuits, don't buy the cake or make the cake. And just don't have those things that are really hanging around, chocolates that are going to tempt you. If you think that you can avoid temptation, you're fooling yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, you just don't have it in the house. The next thing is to encourage the children to be more active with yourself. And so go out with them, go take them outside, take them for a walk, take them to the park, run around with them. And also, you can do a fitness DVD and let the children join in with you. They love it. Yeah. They love to see mummy sort of jumping around and doing things. It entertains a baby. If you've got a child who's sort of a toddler, they might like to join in. They love the music, and you can have a bit of a game with them. And all of those things are very positive. The other thing that's really helpful is if you can go along to a class, it's an evening when it's for you, and to have a bit of time away from the family, a bit of you time, and going to a class gives you that weekly discipline of being weighed by somebody who cares about you, being taught exercise by somebody who's a fitness professional, and being amongst people who are just like you. And it's very therapeutic. And so all of those things can help. Now, if you want to do it, you can do it. If it means you're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and putting in the DVD and working out for half an hour before you go to work, before you do whatever you do, do it. Before the children are awake, do it. If it means doing it when they've gone to bed, yes, you might feel tired. But the interesting thing is that when you've done it, you'll feel better.
Oh, yes.
And so start off, don't try and, train for the marathon. Let's just be sensible here. And if you could do 3 things a week to start off with, that were actually just raising your heart rate a little, then that would be a brilliant way to start. And doing some toning exercise, which you will always find in one of my DVDs, or you would find at the classes. That really does reshape your body and help your body get back to normal.
How about the travelling business when this woman who's a professional, she's approaching 50, a bit like me, busy, lifestyle all over the place, difficult to fit in, for instance, the classes because they may not be open when she's home. What can such a person do?
Well, it depends how determined you are to want to lose the weight and how fit you want to be. Sometimes we need the motivation of an event. It may be that you want to lose weight for a wedding, or for your holiday, or for a gathering of your old schoolmates, a school reunion. It could be some special anniversary or whatever. Those, don't underestimate the power of those, because they do give you a goal and a reason for wanting to lose the weight. For fitness, goals could be you want to run the race for life. It may be that you want to take part in some more serious, well, I mean, that's very serious, but a half marathon or the Great North Run or something like that, and you want to train for it. And if you go to rosemaryconley.tv, you will find on there a training programme that is progressive, whether you want to walk the race for life or run it. And it shows you and tells you how to train for those 8 weeks running up to the race. And it's using those things. And sometimes we're better on a prescriptive type of training plan, which is why the Amazing Inch Loss Plan works so well, because it's a day-by-day programme. You open it, day 1, you do what it says, and at the end of the day we think, well, I've done it. I've actually done it, that's great. And then day 2 tells you what to do that day. And all the meals are interchangeable, so it's not like you have to eat what it says. But it does mean that you have a regime, and people quite like that, because it does think, well, yes, I'm going to do it. And then when you see the results happening, then you are motivated to carry on. And as we get older, this is so important, because as we get older, if we're carrying excess weight, our knees are going to feel it, our ankles are going to feel it, our hips are going to feel it, we're going to feel exhausted at the end of the day. If we can keep our body weight down and we can stay fit, there's no reason why you shouldn't be super fit and able to be just like a 20-year-old when you're in your 60s.
Absolutely.
And there's a real reason for doing that. So that, for me, as I'm 63 now, and as I go into my sort of older years, I know how I run about, and people are surprised that I run about so much, but I can, and everybody else can. And, and thank the Lord for HRT, because, as you get older, it's brilliant. It is brilliant. It's the greatest invention.
You like your HRT?
I do. It's miracle stuff.
Brilliant. Now, I'm going to ask you a few more personal questions. I think I probably know the answer to this, but what's your favourite colour? Just judging by the things that are on Rosemary Conley TV, the way you dress, and you seem to use a particular colour.
There's a lot of pink out there.
Yes.
But that isn't necessarily my favourite colour.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like turquoise. I like all the spring colours.
Okay.
So pink, blue, turquoise, yellow, green even. I like all of those colours equally.
Okay.
And they're the colours that I can wear that sort of suit me best. And if I'm wearing here I'm wearing a sort of
fuchsia.
One colour, fuchsia colour.
Yeah.
But I quite like quite bold and big patterns as well.
Okay.
So, yes, a variety. But I do like pink, but I certainly don't live in a pink house. There's a bit of pink around here, but that's not of my choosing. That was done for us by Laura Ashley.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if I had a favourite colour, it would probably be cream. Yes, if you had a look in my wardrobe, you'd see a lot of cream and white tops.
Really?
Yes.
What's your favourite meal?
Favourite meal? I really like a nice tender steak. I do love steak. And what would be, do I like chips? Yes, you bet I do. Do I eat them often? No, I don't. Sadly, I don't. Because I want to be slim more than I want the chips.
Yeah.
And it is a choice. Do I like chocolate? Yes, of course I like chocolate,
yes.
but I hardly ever eat it because if I had a choice of, right, do you want this chocolate or do you want these chips or do you want these Pringles? I would go for the chips, I think, and then it would be Pringles and then it would be the chocolate.
Hopefully all on the same day.
No, hopefully not. And it's learning. I only eat Pringles ever when we're on holiday, and I've gone from, I can't be trusted in the big tubes anymore. It has to be the little pack. And it has to be over 3 or 4 days. They are addictive. I'm sure there's something on them.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Sure they're not.
They're not quite
They're
telling
not very
us,
holy, are they?
No, there's an added extra ingredient
I
that they're
think
not.
so.
It's not on the pack, is it?
I think so.
But talking about holidays, what sort of things do you like to do for holidays? I know you like skiing.
Yes, we go skiing, and we go most years, and we both love skiing. We go to Austria for that. We've been to the same hotel we got engaged there. We had a honeymoon there, and I take a group there every summer, and we ski there every winter. So that's sort of like our third home. Our second home, we have a house in Portugal, and we've had a property over there for the last 10 years, 11 years now. And this latest one, which we bought 2 years ago, we so love, and we really feel very at peace over there, and really felt that God intended us to have it. It was funny how it was found, and I just felt as though it should all fit in. When things just fall into place, and the timing is amazing, because we had our old villa for sale and we bought our new villa, and there was a month gap between them, and we sold the old villa, and the next month, like the next week almost, the credit crunch hit. And it's, my goodness, we wouldn't have been able to sell it, and so on.
Wow.
And you just felt it was just meant. And it is a real haven for us. And we're going on Sunday, and we're so looking forward to it. We've not been for 9 months because my mum-in-law was quite poorly last year, and she now has moved in with us at home. And we didn't feel we could leave her last year, but now she's in really good order. And we have a wonderful friend who comes and lives in. This friend used to house sit and dog sit, and now she house sits, dog sits, and mother-in-law sits. And they got on like a house on fire. They have such a good time together.
Talking about dogs, I met your lovely, lovely, lovely dog. The coat and that lovely dog. Tell us about your dog.
Visa is a Lurcher Whippet cross. I found her in the road just over 3 years ago, and she was just literally running in the road, and I saw this elderly man waving his walking stick. He'd got his own dog on the lead, and I thought this dog had been sort of slipped his lead. So I pulled over and just said, "Oh, is it yours?" "No." "Is it yours?" he said to me. "No." And so I said, "Okay, well, I'll take it to the police then." I was just on my way to do a talk, and I got this all-white suit on, and I called this dog over. I said, "Come on, come on," and she just got in my car. And so then I brought her here. My daughter was here, and my PA was here, and I said, "I've got to drop her off. I've got to go and do this talk." And this dog said, "Oh, don't come near me. I've got white trousers on." And so this dog that had been out in this, it was end of January, and I don't know how dirty it was. It didn't matter. But anyway, I dropped it off. It went to the police. It wasn't claimed. I went to kennels for a couple of weeks, and then we had her back. Persuaded my husband, Mike, that we would have her. And she came to live with us, and she's called Visa, which is Austrian for orphan, because we persuaded Mike that we would have, we being Dawn and myself, my daughter, we would persuade him that we could keep her. And he said, "Only if I name her," and we're in Austria. and Austrian for orphan, for a Waisenhaus is an orphanage.
Okay.
So we worked on the basis that Weise was meant orphan.
Yeah.
That's what she's called. And she's
Weise.
fabulous.
She is lovely, isn't
And now
she?
she's become a television star.
Well.
Because she's on RosemaryConley.tv, a bit like Blue Peter.
Hey.
And if you watch the bloopers on there, it's hilarious. Because she is so funny.
Yeah.
And so it's well worth watching our channel just to see Weise.
Well, that's it. Make sure you watch RosemaryConley.tv and have a look at Weise, who's a lovely, lovely dog.
She's
so
so
well.
tactile.
Yes.
She's immensely soft.
Yeah.
Her whole coat is like velvet.
Yes.
And it makes you want to stroke her. You just do. So when I'm presenting, she's sitting alongside me and I just sort of stroke her while I'm presenting and she just snores or twitches or whatever. It's lovely. She loves the heat of the light because dogs like whippets and greyhounds feel the cold terribly.
Yeah.
And so she loves the warmth of the lamps.
Yeah, yes. Well, it's been lovely talking to you today, and thank you so much for the pleasure of coming to this beautiful place. By the way, have you any plans for a retreat centre?
No.
Like Chapneys or
No, definitely
not at all.
not. I know my
okay.
areas of expertise, and running a health farm isn't one of them.
Okay.
So no, too much of everything. I love what we do,
Yes.
and we stick to the knitting, as we say in our business.
Yes.
Stick to the thing that you know you're good at.
Absolutely, and you certainly do that. Thank you for sharing your faith and your testimony with us today. I'm sure the viewers would absolutely love to just know that you are a down-to-earth, real person, just like that. You've had your ups and your downs, you've had your heartache and your financial losses, and the way God has restored your fortunes, restored your marriage, and how He continues to work with you to do something that's just so amazing and blesses so many people's lives.
Well, it's a privilege to do what we do, and I thank God for His guidance and His wisdom and His grace in everything that we do, and there's no doubt that He is so present in everything that we do. And I would say that if anybody wants a copy of the Powerful Living book, it's now been reprinted with my little testimony in it, and people can just write to me, and I'll be only too happy to send them a copy free, because it's given away by the Demos Foundation free of charge, so it's a free gift.
Thank you so much, Rosemary Conley.
Thank you,
and
Laura.
long may it continue.
Thank you.
Well, folks, you've heard it from the lady herself. Thank you for watching Health in Focus, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.